We are here at Blue Cross Blue Shield, and Adam Britt is with me, a registered dietitian who helps folks find out what's good to eat, what's not good to eat. But Adam, one of the first questions I want to ask you, you got nutritionists, you got dietitians, you got registered dietitians, you have all that. What is the difference, let's say a registered dietitian like yourself and a nutritionist?
Absolutely, that's definitely a big question that we do talk to people a lot about. So really the term nutritionist, historically and in the past, there was no real definition for nutrition. There's no licensure requirement. And so for a person to say I'm a nutritionist in the past, it really didn't mean anything. It didn't mean they had any particular educational experience. Whereas a dietitian, if you are a registered dietitian, that means that you have gone through a substantial amount of schooling, of education. We have to do a 4-year degree, typically in nutrition sciences or a similar field. Yeah. We also have a residency, almost a year-long internship where we work with other dietitians in the field already. So it's kind of like a physician does, right? They go to their residency. Right. So for a dietitian, in order to call themselves a registered dietitian, they also have to do that. And most programs now actually also require a master's degree for an individual to end up with that certification for registered dietitian. And so that's the main difference, really, is that registered dietitian or registered dietitian nutritionist, that's actually a new addition to our to that name, they have a substantial educational background, right. Whereas an individual that just says, I'm a nutritionist, won't necessarily have that educational piece behind it. And they just may, consider themselves an expert, but wouldn't necessarily have the background or the licensure to do the work that they would be doing.
Do you have to be licensed in the state?
Yes, indeed. So most states require specific licensure. So most dietitians is going to say RD, LD. So that LD is the licensed dietitian. And in Alabama, that is definitely a requirement. In many other states it is. There are some states that don't have a licensure itself, so they would just have the RD or the RDN without the LD. But most states do require that license.
Okay, what about the there's dietitians in hospitals. There's dietitians like yourself who work here at Blue Cross who work with patients. In hospitals, they work with patients. Is there any difference in that type of dietary work?
Excellent question. So that is really more a difference in just your focus overall. So when a dietitian works in a hospital, usually we're considered as a clinical dietitian where we're going to work with people on all kinds of different disease states and disease processes. Now, whether you work in a hospital, whether you work in a nursing home, that's another common place, whether you work in a school system, that's a common place. Yeah. What we do here, I would consider more education, community nutrition, where we're working with individuals trying to help them make healthier choices. And the difference really is just in the focus. And actually you may be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't be, in that if you're in a hospital setting and an individual, maybe they just had a heart attack and they are trying to figure out what can I do to prevent, my doctor said this is a huge issue for me, what can I do to not have this happen again? Yeah. And it really does become just that educational piece. So there's not a difference in licensure between the different areas, right? So if they're in the hospital, if they're in a company like Blue Cross, they have the same licensure. If they are a dietitian, right. It's just a slightly different focus in the work and perhaps a different focus in their background.
How do you find the people to talk to? I mean, there's a lot of, I'm a member, I've been probably 20 years of Blue Cross. How do you determine who you talk to?
Yes, indeed. So that and that can differentiate based on where a person is, right? So at Blue Cross, we get referrals. We have people that call in looking to participate with us, people that have this benefit under their insurance, and so they call in and say, hey, I want to talk to a dietitian. And so that's one option that some people have based on their contracts, and that's where we get a lot of volume. A lot of people saying, yes, I want some help with weight loss, I want some help with this, with that, and so they'll call in asking for it. In other cases, we'll get referrals, right? A nurse is talking to a member at Blue Cross and they say, oh, I really need some extra help in this. And the nurse says, well, I know just the person you need to talk to. So let me get you over to the dietitian. Yeah. So we get referrals. We get people calling in directly. We're, that's really the way that we, we get our volume here.
How many dietitians do we have?
Excellent question. So at the moment, there are 3 dietitians. Now in our area, we also have a number of other health backgrounds, right? So we have people from exercise, people with mental health degrees, people with different experiences, so that can actually help individuals with their lifestyle changes from a different perspective. Because it's, of course, I am biased. I think diet's important, but there's a lot of other aspects that go into a healthy lifestyle and a lot of things that make nutrition more difficult because of lifestyle-based issues.
Adam, thank you for being with us. Great information. Always great information when you're dealing with people here at Blue Cross Blue Shield.